So now I've got some data. We've got a data set, and we're going to go and do some more linear regression stuff. So let's open this data, look at the table. Okay, very simple. We just have 5 data points. Let's open StatCrunch. We want to avoid doing any calculation on our own. So that's my goal here, is to show you how to do all of this stuff without lifting up a finger to write with pencil on paper, because we can use the software to do almost all of that. There's once in a while we may have to do a little bit of a calculation, but we're going to try to avoid it. Okay, so we're going to do what we did just now. We're going to go to Stat. We're going to go to Regression, a simple linear regression. Once again, we'll pick X for our X variable, Y for our Y variable. Click Compute, and we'll get our statistical output again. Let's open it up and see what we got. Okay, so you can see we've got Y is 1.6 plus 1.9X. Now this is reversed, but we just have to look for the right one. It's 1.9X plus 1.6. That's perfect. Graph the least squares regression line. Again, remember that's right here in the output. I'm going to just make it square so it looks a little bit better. Tries to match this. I'm going to match the axes just so it get a really clear picture. I have X going from -3 to 3, and it looks like for all of these Y goes from -6. Oops. Looks like Y is going from -6 to 6. So I'm going to go -6 to 6. Okay, well, you have to just try to ignore the axes and where they cross, but the main thing is to look at the line and see the dots going above and below. It looks like C. I'm going to open up C and see if it's close. I can see this point's a little bit above, that one's a little bit more below. That's kind of medium above and below. C looks good. That's what you have to look for. It's really the line that looks like it follows the pattern of it the best. Okay, what's the sum of the squared residuals? Now, if I go back to my statistical output, it gives me a lot of other stuff. I said I'd look at it later. Let's look at some of it now. If I scroll down, I have analysis of variance. This gives me a lot of information which we will look at in more detail in a later module. But for now, you should know this row for the errors are kind of another word for talking about residuals. The error is the difference between what is, I'll show you, what is predicted by our model and what is plotted in our data, okay? So that is how much error our model has with respect to the actual data. So each of those differences could be thought of as a little tiny error. All right, you could take all those errors. If you square them all and you add them up, that's the sum of squares. And that is right here. This, when we say SS, that stands for sum of squares. So sum of squares for the errors is 1.1, and that's it. And that's all it was asking for.